Okay, you know what? We go live and immediately Caitlin is screaming in the background.
Oh my god.
Perfect. Perfect timing, everyone.
Welcome
Excellent.
to
Okay.
SDGC, folks.
Okay. Hey, can I please do my intro, Derek?
No one's
please?
stopping you.
Okay. Hello again and welcome to SDGC for Thursday, January 30th. If you're not already aware, SDGC meets right here each and every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we discuss the latest gaming headlines with a wide variety of panel members and guests. We also do a whole bunch of other stuff as time allows, like a separate show about movies and television, pre-recorded content, and a bi-weekly morning show every other Friday. If you've been along for the ride so far, welcome home. And if not, hey, feel free to stick around and maybe throw us a sub. Every single podcast is archived the next day on our YouTube channel for those who like to watch. And you can find us on all major podcast services for those who like to listen. That was a hell of an opening, wasn't it?
That's the usual, yeah.
So everybody, hope everybody had a good day. Hope everybody had a good week. It's almost over. Hold on, Derek. What do you mean? My new camera angle is not cooperating? What's going on with that?
It's just because your camera keeps freezing up. That's an internet thing that has nothing to do with. I was joking that your camera is refusing to change its ways.
I was gonna say, man, I look pretty good. We have a very cool guest tonight. I actually asked Stella, who is actually at ParallaxStella on Twitter, a streamer and a news like on camera talent at IGN. Stella, I guess is the best way to describe what you do there.
Yeah, I was actually brought on as an associate gameplay producer. So, but then I started branching out into other stuff. So I'm kind of, what is that, a multi-tool, I guess?
You're a multi-tool. I like, or like an omni-tool.
Omni-tool.
Like,
Don't call yourself
Yeah,
a tool. That's not
thing.
nice.
That's a thing.
That's John.
Yeah, I am the biggest tool of all on this podcast. Stella, welcome. Thank you so much for agreeing to spend an hour and a half with us tonight. We really appreciate it. We'll see if you ever want to come back after you're done. But for anybody in the audience who might not know about you or who you are, could you talk a little bit about how you got your start and what led you to IGN?
Okay, so I've been streaming for 5+ years, and I didn't think I was gonna like it, but then that kind of broadened my horizons to so much other stuff that I could do. And for a while now, I think I realized that I wanted to do some on-camera stuff. I wanted to do something that was bigger than just my stream. And I actually saw the job posting on Twitter for this position that I'm in now. So I tweeted back at Destin, who's my boss, and we got into talks, sent him my resume, and got an interview. So it was really kind of lucky. I saw it at the right time, jumped in on it. It's kind of weird because I definitely have my own brand. So yeah, with Simple, when he's when he's talking about my rant video that went viral, I was not counting on that. So...
That was actually how I got introduced to you, by the way.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Oh wow. I mean, I guess I wouldn't put it past you because like a lot of people said they know me from that now. So
Yeah. So I actually didn't realize you worked at IGN when I first saw that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I guess that's good, right? That means I'm doing a good job of separating the brands.
I think so. And that's the interesting thing, right? Is that you've actually got two very distinct brands. You obviously you are on IGN talking news on camera, but you're also doing your ParallaxStella thing on your Twitch channel. How long have you been doing that?
I think it's gonna be maybe 6 years now.
Oh wow! I didn't realize you've been doing it that long.
Yeah, I think that kind of helped me get the job at IGN because I knew a lot about the back end of streaming. I knew how to edit videos. I was self-taught in a lot of stuff, so I think that kind of helped.
Oh, I know Derek can relate to that.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Derek is our beleaguered producer.
Yeah. Editor, producer, general tech guy, all of it.
Oh my God.
I have no more water.
You poor soul. And Stella, how long have you been at IGN now?
I started last June, literally the week before E3. So as soon as I got there, I got a week of training, and then Destin was like, "Bye," and half the office was gone. So
so they just literally threw you into the deep end of the pool.
They did, and I was just like, "Okay, well, I guess this office is mine now." So I just ran circles around the office. It was fun.
You are guys. Refresh my memory. How many people from IGN have we had on now? We've had Adam.
I know we've had Adam. I know we've had Lucy.
Who Who else have we?
Probably four or five.
4 or 5, something like that. Yeah. So we are no stranger to IGN here, and it is an absolute pleasure to have you with us, Stella. And I will say it's not Stella's fault that we were running a little bit late. You can blame the trains. It's actually the train's
it was gonna
fault.
be my fault.
No.
It's the
Yeah,
train's
it's your
fault.
fault.
Yes, you're gonna fit right in here. You are gonna fit right in here. Everything is Finn's fault.
This is factual, and I don't even have a good retort to it. Immediately as John caught
I accidentally unplugged my shit here.
John causes problems on accident.
I do, or on purpose. Take your pick. Stella, just to give you a warning, we feel free to swear. There's no filter here. This is an after-hours podcast, as we like to say. So feel free to use all the foul language you want,
or feel free to not.
Yeah.
Or you don't have to. Yeah, absolutely. It's
totally laid back.
up to you.
Take your
Okay,
pace.
cool.
I swear, I was a Marine, so I swear like a sailor, and there's nothing I can do about it.
I thought.
But I will try to rein it
You're a
in.
Marine, John. Man, I didn't know that. How could
I know,
you-
yeah, it's like I never talk about it.
Posts that we see.
Yeah.
I never talk about. Hey, okay, Stella, you were here to.
And I love you a lot, but like, man, no, I'm just kidding.
Can I get that weed whacker picture again,
Well,
bud?
this has been episode 176 of SDGC. I hope everybody had a good time tonight.
Hey guys.
Okay.
Don't you know John's middle name is Subtle? Come on.
Jeff, why don't you take us into our first topic? Come on, let's stop bragging on John. Start talking about video games.
Oh, but okay, we'll get back to you later.
Excellent! I can't wait. It's gonna be great.
So we had a lot of earnings reports the last few days. I just kind of grabbed some of the key points from the ones most of us are probably interested in. Microsoft changed how they report on their gaming division. I think they changed it last year. It was already vague, and it's now nearly useless. They haven't reported hardware sales in a long time. They got rid of monthly active users. So basically all we're left with is Xbox content and services, which would be like subscriptions and stuff like that.
How many people have eaten a ham sandwich while playing Halo 5 on Xbox Live in the past year?
I don't know,
incredible
but
that you
down,
knew.
it's down 11%. So down 11% in Q2 2020, and their gaming revenue overall is down 21%. Their hardware sales are down 43% year over year, which, I mean, who's buying an Xbox right now this close to next? I mean, it's expected. Everyone's probably seeing declines, Sony too, but
I doubt PlayStation's seeing
steep.
declines like that,
Yeah.
though.
No, it's especially exacerbated with Microsoft's situation.
Now, Simple in chat is asking, reporting to the public or to their partners. I'm presuming this is all specifically to the public, and that
Yeah,
we
all
don't
of the info in here, as far as I know, it came from public earnings calls. So either divulged to their investors or they put out public press releases on their sites as well. So it's all public information. These aren't any this isn't any like insider scoops or anything like that. You can go look this up on their websites.
But also, we have all the insider scoops. Let's just be clear about that.
Yeah, when's Metroid Prime Trilogy coming to Switch?
Metroid Prime Trilogy will be announced in February, and it will release.
Next month.
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
I actually know when the Nintendo Direct is happening.
Let's
but
keep
please
moving.
continue.
Don't
continue.
feed him.
When is the Nintendo Direct coming?
It's coming the second week of February.
Okay.
Don't feed him.
You heard it here.
Keep
You heard it here
moving.
In case Stella doesn't know, John has predicted Metroid Prime Trilogy for Switch. I would say at least
It
10 times over the
exists,
last-
Jeff. It's real.
I
It's been
believe
done.
you.
Okay, all right.
So that's Microsoft. I guess, does anyone have any comments on that? Like, are any guys looking to buy a new Xbox?
It's really interesting because you're correct. This is the point where the financial results, at least the public-facing information, has become effectively useless. I mean, revenues being down by what was that? Was it hardware sales were down 43%?
It was like 43%,
you said, and then
Yeah.
total revenues was
Gaming revenue overall is down 21%.
yeah. I mean, like that's rough, but at the same time, they seem so happy with everything to do with Game Pass, and they seem so focused on pushing their subscriptions and those services that it's just very weird how the lack of transparency that has come, but they're not showing us any reason to panic, and they keep laughing kind of about the idea that anyone should actually panic, which I'm not a quick to panic type of person anyway, but it's just weird then when you also get a complete stonewall on these kind of reports compared to what they had been doing just a couple years ago.
Well, Finn, I see your hand up. I want to kick something to Stella real quick, and then we'll circle it back to you. I want to make sure we give our guests time to cut into this. I know that, like, so Stella, I'm sure you guys have had this conversation at the IGN offices, but this doesn't really surprise me because Microsoft has been pivoting away from Xbox as a static platform underneath your television into more of a complete service across a broad range of devices for years now. So I don't see this really as cause for concern because I think Microsoft is throwing all their eggs into the Game Pass basket. But I wanted to see what you think.
So is this about if we like the Game Pass or not?
No. So a lot of people are panicking about the Xbox numbers. I don't think there's any reason to panic because I don't think Xbox cares. I don't think they really care about getting. I don't think they care about selling Xboxes anymore. I think they care about people signing on to Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever makes them money, right? Game Pass does a great job. I mean, they had so many sales. They were really pushing Game Pass for so long. Like, hey, get a month for like $1 or something like that?
Some ridiculous deal, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. And I was like, you know what? That's not a bad idea because then it introduces you to a bunch of games. And then they're just like, hey, by the way, next month we'll have these things. And it's like, oh, maybe I'll stay on one more month. And that's how they get you. But I don't think it's a bad thing now that you can actually download it on PC as well. I think it's great. Like, not only you're not excluded to just Xbox, you can bring it to PC. I think it's great. I think a lot more people can access games now and for cheaper. So I'm not too worried about it. And I kind of moved off the Xbox to PC anyways. So
I think, you know, what's interesting is I've heard that sentiment from a lot of people actually. And if you're but here's the thing, right? Like if you're playing an Xbox exclusive game on PC, you're still playing Xbox in my opinion. Like you're still invested in that ecosystem, and I think that's what Microsoft cares the most about is that not that you're going out and you're buying the Xbox Series X or family console, whatever. They care about whether or not you are investing in their ecosystem, and I think this has been the vision for Microsoft for years now, and it's finally coming to fruition. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens I think the landscape at this time next year is going to be very interesting to see because it feels like PlayStation is resting all their laurels on a dedicated hardware box under your television, and Microsoft isn't really doing that anymore. Finn, I know you had your hand up. Go ahead, bud.
No, you pretty much said it.
Oh, did I steal your thunder, Finn?
You stole it right out from under him.
Did
How
I steal your
dare
thunder,
you.
Finn? I'm sorry, buddy. You know what? I take back everything I said. I completely disagree with everything I just said. Why don't you tell us while I'm wrong?
No, let's move on. I'll have many more thoughts later. Don't you worry.
All right.
We're all in agreement here. So that's pretty much it for Microsoft. We'll touch more on them in our next topic, Sony and them as well. The next one I have here is Take-Two. Not much. They just put out a big release on their two big games, Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2. So no surprise, they confirmed Grand Theft Auto 5 is the best-selling game of the past decade in the U.S.
I could not have seen that coming.
And but this one, I am a little surprised. I didn't know it would quite do this well. Red Dead Redemption 2 is the best-selling game of the past 4 years in the United States.
Holy shit! Are you serious?
Has it?
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, it hasn't been out that many years. There's no way, right?
God.
What?
So that's how it's done. Just since it came out, it's already the best-selling game.
Oh,
of the
that
last
makes
4
sense.
years.
But also, still what?
wow.
Wow.
So the numbers we have globally
I had it done.
is between both games, they've shipped 150 million. Grand Theft Auto 5, I think we know, is around 115 million, which means Red Dead Redemption 2 has shipped 35 million units in just over a year, which
Man,
is
Good
insane.
Lord.
Now imagine what they would sell if they were good games.
Oh,
Finn, my man.
did we? Ooh.
My man, Finn, right? No, Finn's 100% correct. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a video game that looks like it was made in this current gen and plays like a game from PlayStation 3 in 2008.
Hey, first of all, I don't actually mean that. I just wanted to get a rise out of Jeff.
You know what? I respect your opinion, Finn. It's different
Aw.
than mine, but I'm happy to hear it always.
You guys are so
we're
fucking
so
wholesome. I
Oh my
love it.
God.
I love you
All right.
guys.
But I mean, that's the question. Like, do you think when's the next time do you think we'll get a real, true new IP from Rockstar, like how do they balance
Fucking never.
providing sequels and follow-ups to these massive money-making machines versus giving us something new? Because there were times I remember back in the back days where Rockstar was pumping out new IP like it was nothing. Like,
Were they though? Like, I mean, I
they
remember
were.
that State of Emergency game.
You just
Like,
don't remember most
just
of them, probably.
because it didn't last
Bully.
the test of time. They had Bullied. They had
Oh,
they even
Bully,
dipped their
that's right.
toes
Oh,
in
that's
the
right.
table tennis game. We had
Did they
State
do
of
Midnight
Emergency.
Club? Was that Rockstar?
I think
Midnight Club was
so.
Rockstar.
LA Noire, right? Like,
Yeah, L.A. Noir.
but I thought that was Team Bondi though, and like Rockstar just published it.
But they were still publishing games that weren't
Yeah, I
called Grand
guess.
Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm splitting hairs. Yeah. Okay, no,
It's,
that's really good. That's a really
Max
good point.
Payne. When was the last time we got a Max Payne game?
2000.
Remember
What was the last
Manhunt?
Max Payne game?
It was
We had a
few years
Warriors
ago.
game. We had Manhunt. We had Max Payne. We had Midnight Club. Let's not forget the game that never existed, Agent.
yeah.
Holy shit! I forgot all about Agent.
See,
So
now I
did
just put it
Rockstar.
on
So
the
did
line.
Rockstar.
Yeah.
So like I heard Stella had chimed in there. Stella, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the last Max Payne game we got was in 2012.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The years fly by. So to
It
me,
was
didn't
when
feel like
Max
so
Payne
long
looked like
ago.
me, right? He was bald and he had a beard.
Oh my god.
He was just
I think
just
so.
beaten down by life. I'm basically Max Payne in 2013.
I think so. I just remember people. Was that the game where it was kind of like a? Oh my god, what is it? Sandbox game.
No, so Max Payne, you had the bullet time thing. You had the
Oh, okay, that's what that is. Okay.
yeah, you could slow down time like the Matrix.
Yeah, I don't
That
know
game
when the
was-
last one.
Yeah, Max Payne 3 was
Yeah,
not exactly a
2012.
massive hit, though, was it? Like, they put
don't
some...
No, I
think
don't think it
so.
was.
Yeah.
I think it came out at the tail end of the gen, and yeah, it because Remedy did the first two, right? So
Oh, that's right.
They've always been kind of cult favorite rather than like big
Mm.
mass market appeal kind of.
They didn't do Kane and Lynch, did they?
That was Square Enix.
Oh, of
That
course.
was
it
Square Enix published, so.
Of course, it was Square Enix.
my favorite thing about Square Enix is I just constantly hear about random games, and I'm just like, I
You
guess
can't-
it's just,
Take the name Kane and Lynch and just erase it from me. Dude, that game was fucking awful.
Yeah. The most notable thing about Kane and Lynch is what happened to Jeff Gerstmann for that review. Like that's
Yeah,
the only
poor
thing,
Jeff.
only
Jesus,
thing
yeah.
long term that matters from that game. So
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that guy's got integrity like I've never seen before, though.
yeah,
What I'll say is, and then Stella, I'd like your opinion on this, but at this point, with the way Grand Theft Auto 5 has been selling, why would they ever forget a new IP? Why would they ever make a Grand Theft Auto 6? I mean, this
That
is a
was-
living world now.
Yeah, that's entirely my point too. I was gonna say like they don't really need to expand anymore. They've got the formula down. Why move away from something that works? I mean, it's like the Call of Duty games, right? Until the jetpacks hit, but it's basically like they know what's good. They know what people want. People want to run around, do what they can't do in real life, and I mean, it works for them. Grand Theft Auto 5 has still been going strong, especially with the modding community and the RP community. So I think they really don't need to pivot. Like everything's right there.
just keep GTA Online going basically, and keep updating. Treat that like its own service forever.
Well, and that's my
Like,
thing, Derek, is like, the way that GTA Online, I can't talk tonight, the way that's progressing, why, I mean, it's basically Grand Theft Auto 6, only you make your own story. Like, why would you, like, I'm sure that Grand
They
Theft Auto 6 is
eventually will,
development. Like,
but-
yeah, it's going to happen.
But why rush it?
I don't think it's good. Like, I saw some speculation that it might be announced this year. No, it won't be.
no.
You're not going to see that game for another 4 years, in my opinion. It's going to be a
The-
long fucking time.
the biggest problem with Grand Theft Auto 5 is that it's not a current gen game, and as a regular online player, I can tell you the online infrastructure in that game is ass, and the community kind of hate plays it. Like they hate it, but they put up with it. But the load
Interesting,
times
I didn't
are
know that.
like because it was built for PS3 and
Yeah.
360 architecture, right? So like,
Yeah.
and while they've added content, I don't think they've done any sort of large overhaul to how
There was kind of an overhaul when they did the PS4 and Xbox One ports, I think.
visual
right?
and gameplay, but in terms of the back end network
Oh,
stuff for
yeah,
the
I
online
see.
portion, it's basically running on stuff that was designed almost a decade ago. So that's the only reason I could see to, rather than pumping out content, I think it'd be a good opportunity for them to make a new title, get it again, an additional $60 from everyone for the entire generation for every console, and kind of pull all that stuff back together. Because The online games have come a long way since that came out.
So I'll ask one more question and then we can move on from Grand Theft Auto 5. But they haven't done any actual story content for this game in the form of DLC, right? It's just been Grand Theft Auto Online.
Not for the
it's been
single player,
online.
but the online mode does have story. Like each of the major updates have cutscenes. They've got like an ongoing narrative. It's just all confined to that mode. There's nothing.
But like there hasn't been any like how 4 got the Ballad of Gay Tony and
No.
stuff like
No,
that.
no, like
okay.
standalone built on the same engine, like mini releases or anything.
Interesting, because I think honestly, like I'm not a Grand Theft Auto fan, but you know what would pull me in, like an Undead Nightmare type deal, like they did with Red Dead Redemption. I feel like running around that city with a bunch of zombies would be fucking awesome. Like that'd be
So
great.
you want it to
I would
turn even
love
more
that.
into Saints Row.
Yes, absolutely. Why not?
100%.
But anyway, we can probably go ahead and move on.
I don't know why I put this in here. So EA, the only thing I have is they once again did not mention Anthem.
Poor Anthem.
And they confirmed the next Battlefield will come in fiscal year 2022, which is probably 2021. I can't keep track of everyone's fiscal years. So Battlefield's ways away. No talk about Anthem, and then they just had some numbers for some of their games. Fallen Order did pretty good.
Stella, do you have any strong feelings about EA or Anthem in particular?
They disappointed me with Anthem. I played
I think
beta.
they disappointed
and
a lot of people.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and I was so excited for it, but kind of dipped, so it's fine. But anyways,
do you think that Anthem? Do you think that the servers are still active a year from now?
I think so. I think there is a fan base that is. I mean, everything has a fan base, right? Like, I don't think they would be putting effort into it. I do know that they have a Reddit page, and I think that forum is pretty active. I've looked at it maybe like a year ago, and I think people were still talking about things, asking about, hey, how do you do this raid, which is pretty cool. I know they tried to fix some things, and that brought people back to it. So maybe there is still like a decent medium player base, but.
And they added it to the EA Origin Vault, I believe, as well, or the Access.
They
one
added
of their
that to the vault pretty
subscriptions.
quickly, though, didn't they, Jeff?
Yeah, I think within 6 to 8 months after it came out. But that's, again, there's a lot of people subscribe to those services, and maybe just having access to the game is enough to get them in there. And
So, Jeff, Panzer2 in chat said, I'd love to see the Anthem numbers, player numbers. I thought they meant sales numbers, because it sold great initially. Like, it sold really well.
Really front loaded, yeah.
it was one of the
Yeah.
best-selling games, at least in the first half of the year. Yep.
I think it was like number 15 for the generation or something. Like, I mean, it was an extremely high seller, and it fell off a cliff player wise.
Well, and the thing about games now, it kind of ties into the Microsoft stuff. We mentioned it's not all about the sales of games, the sales of these boxes, right? It's all about having people engaging and playing your content in your ecosystem. And what we've learned with games recently too is it's not so much day one sales, it's what's your player retention like, how many people are logging in every month, because that's what drives the season passes, the battle passes, the microtransactions. That's the big money for these companies now, and that's why I think I don't know if they can turn Anthem around, but if they can earn some goodwill back and get people playing that again, and make that kind of an addictive loop, and feel rewarding, it is salvageable with that model, but it's going to take a lot.
I don't know. I think it's too late for Anthem personally. Like, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Like, I never played World of Warcraft, but I do play Final Fantasy 14, and I do know that the MMO world is very congested, and there's not a lot of room for big players. Constantly we heard about over the years about WoW killers, World of Warcraft killers. It was Lord of the Rings Online, or it was Asheron's Call 2, or it was Final Fantasy 14, and these genres, these very particular genres, these shared world, open world, whether they be RPGs, MMORPGs, online shooters, there are room for 2 maybe, and not a whole lot else. And
well, we don't have time to play everything, right? And so, like,
yeah,
even if you say, like, maybe Anthem is a good game, I didn't personally care for it, but if you say, okay, at least it's a good game, it's not good enough to just be good. If you're trying to, if you've got competing with Destiny and Division, and you're as good as Destiny, but someone's already playing Destiny, you need to be better.
Why would I stop
to
playing
pull
Destiny?
people away? Because
Right.
why would I stop playing the thing I've been playing for 7 years, right? So
That's been the double-edged sword of these persistent games. These what were the games as a service genre?
Games as a service
is
yeah.
that they're designed to last years now, but in order to retain that player base, you have to not only have enough content to keep them interested, but it has to be content good enough to stop them from peeling off into other games. And it's the double-edged sword. You could have a fan base giving you money for years, but you could just as easily, instead of doing the one and done and standalone DLC in the more traditional method, be completely overshadowed by another game. And because you're asking for that same time commitment, you might get nothing.
Yep.
Well, Stella, is there anybody over at the IGN offices who plays Anthem in any meaningful way?
Not meaningful way, no.
The brutal truth.
I know Destin used to love it, and he was the leading guy for when it was first launching, and he did all the gameplay stuff for it. But then as soon as it came out, he was like, "What the fuck?"
Because I mean, Destin is like he's the Destiny guy at IGN. Like he.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like he
And his
loves
name's
that
built
stuff.
for it too.
He loves
So-
that stuff.
Yeah, so when Anthem came out, he was like, "Oh, this is gonna be great," but then he was sorely disappointed. And so now he's still the Destiny guy,
Stella, quick question. So if you aren't big into Anthem or anything, what are you currently invested in a games as a service, like long-term game? Like, what is your current passion?
Like an RPG, like an MMO sort of thing?
Well, just
or
any
Any of
games
these
like
big
that?
giant online
any
games.
ongoing game, yeah.
Okay, I mean, I guess Apex Legends. That's the one thing that I keep going back to. I would like to say Destiny, but I haven't touched it in a few months.
I haven't played it in a
So-
long time.
Yeah,
A
like I
long
want
time.
to so badly because there's always cool stuff going on, but I just don't have the time to invest in it.
Well,
So I'd probably
yeah.
say Apex because you can get in and out of games so quickly.
And it's Stella, it's interesting you mentioned that because I used to play a ton of Destiny until I'm a huge Final Fantasy guy, and then I generally tried to stay away from MMOs, but I fell into Final Fantasy, and last year ended up putting like 400 hours into it, and just like Jeff said earlier, and just like you said, we only have so many time to play all these fucking games that are hitting, and I just fell completely off of Destiny about, I would say, almost a year ago, and I just have not gone back. And so now when I see everybody talking about Destiny, like, oh, there's a big puzzle the community's trying to solve, I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I have
yeah.
no idea what's happening. I don't know what's going on.
Well, and that's interesting. Maybe we could talk about that a bit. I know the last week there was a lot of chatter. I think there was a Forbes article that went up. Just basically talking. There's been some. I mean, there's always unrest in the Destiny community. I feel bad for that team. No one's ever happy with the game. But this article was basically saying, so Destiny's really changed its model. There's games like Final Fantasy where they just release content and story content, and you can come back 2 years later and just catch up and play all the content. But what Destiny's doing now is they've got these kind of like limited live events. They last a week or two, and then they're gone, and something else comes in. So it's people feel very pressured to, I guess, do everything in this really squeezed time frame. And they also have this big fear of missing out. And it's actually just anecdotally, I know a lot of hardcore Destiny players that have been pushed away from it recently because they're like, oh, like I can't keep up. I can't get all this done. And then everything resets and changes to the next thing. So I think it's a really tough balance. Like why they're doing that, I think, is to try and make sure there's always something for people to chase, and you don't have people complaining like, well, there's nothing to do. But I think it's kind of having the reverse effect.
Jeff, real quick, I just want to give a very big shout out to our favorite NPD analyst, Matt Piscatella, in chat. Matt is a longtime friend of this podcast, and he hasn't been able to join us in a long time because he's super busy. But Matt, it is so good to see you in there, and we miss you, buddy.
Saki especially misses you, Matt.
But sorry, I wanted to get that off my chest. Please continue.
Aw.
So I don't know. That's pretty much it for EA. We've got a lot under Nintendo here. If you guys want to talk about
Yes,
Nintendo.
I definitely want to talk about Nintendo.
That's a
So
surprise.
I'm just gonna run through it. I'm just gonna run through it all, and then we can kind of pick it apart.
Sure.
So, and I should mention all the numbers that I'm pulling here are coming from primarily our friend Dom's playing on Twitter. He does a lot of nice summaries.
He's a cool guy. Go follow
some
him.
of the financial stuff, and coincidentally, he's a huge Destiny fan. And our old friend of the show, Zooge EX or Z-Huge.
Z-Huge. We coined the original term Z-Huge.
It's
We
Juga.
absolutely butchered the
Like
name, but that's what we're
Juglian.
going with. So I just kind of parsed all these numbers from them. They put together really easy to understand summaries. So
Hey,
Nintendo,
real quick, Jeff. Thank you to Pollux Oil in chat for gifting those tier 1 subs.
yes, thank you. So Nintendo, what do we got? Switch lifetime sales update. Nintendo Switch is now at 52.48 lifetime. That's million. That, according to Tom Warren, Microsoft guy, that surpasses the Xbox One lifetime sales, which we don't have hard numbers, but we figures around 50 million. So Switch has already passed Xbox One.
That is wild.
For the past fiscal year, which is not yet over, they sold almost 18 million units, 5 million of which were Switch Lites. That was almost a third of the units sold in the last year are Switch Lites. And they raised their target for the end of the fiscal year from 18 to 19 million. So the big takeaway here is the Switch Lite is it's not people buying a Switch Lite instead of a base Switch. People are still buying the base Switch, but they've kind of tapped into an additional handheld audience with the Lite. Nintendo Online is now 15 million subscribers. That's up from 8 million last year.
Nice.
That's 29%, almost a third of Switch owners subscribe to Switch Online. And we got a couple interesting updates on some games. Pokemon Sword and Shield sold 16 million units.
Jesus Christ, that's fucking wild.
So the boycott did very well. And Luigi's Mansion 3, I believe, is the best selling in the series with over 5 million units sold
That's what
already.
I like to see.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, look,
October.
if a Switch entry in any franchise comes out, it's going to be the best selling in the series. Fire Emblem Three Houses, right, just became best selling in its series. If I remember correctly. Like,
Yes, it did.
yeah.
I mean, dude, like if it's a first party game and it's on Switch, like it's almost at this point, it's almost guaranteed to sell 1 million plus copies.
Well,
like,
they said Astral Chain crossed 1 million recently.
I'm
Hell
so
yeah.
fucking happy. That game was awesome.
It
Yeah,
looks
but it's
so
like
cool.
a niche platinum game. Like,
Oh, hold on,
No,
wait,
but it's
hold on.
anime and
Stella,
it's
have you not
awesome.
played? Have you not played it?
No, I unfortunately am not one of the millions who has a Switch.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
You need to hop on that Animal
no.
Crossing. That thing looks great.
Oh, it looks so pretty, and I think that might
Be
suck
what
me
breaks
into
you.
the- yeah, that might be
that
it.
that blue color tone on the new Animal Crossing Switch looks so good.
Look,
It's just
I don't,
so pretty. Who doesn't want that?
I
I don't even care about Animal Crossing, and I want those Joy-Cons in my life.
oh
Like,
those
I
Joy
love those.
Cons. Oh my god! Like I sold my Switch Pro to get a Switch Lite because I'm a handheld guy. and
Switch
I've never
Pro.
looked
You
back.
have
You mean
the
a
mythical
regular
Switch
Did
Pro?
I say Switch Pro?
You did.
Holy
But
shit! I
John-
guess at this point that is the Switch Pro, right?
Those aren't even coming out this
That's the
year.
closest that, yeah, that's the closest we'll get to it for now. You know.
Absolutely right. Like, so yeah, fuck it. I sold my Switch Pro. And I got a Switch Lite, and I have not looked back, and I don't regret it because I love my Switch Lite. But that Animal Crossing, like those Joy-Cons and that dock, holy shit.
Yeah,
they're
nothing
just
makes
like-
me.
Sorry.
No,
Go ahead.
please.
No, please, Stella.
I was gonna say, I mean, I think the sales are just doing really well because everyone loves portability. They like being able to take their stuff on the go and also be able to share the game with their friends. If they want to be like, hey, check this out real quick, they can just hand off one of the Joy-Cons.
Yep.
And any Joy-Cons work with it, so you can buy it more. And then the Switch Lite, like that just makes it even better because people are like, oh, that's like half the price of my console that my son has or that my friend has. So cool,
And it
I'll
feels
get this.
so like it just feels good to play on and to hold. Like it's got this really nice matte finish that just feels really it's so good. I love my Switch Lite.
I
Oh, it's
would
so good.
love to see what the breakdown is of Switch Lite owners that's actually their second Switch.
Yeah.
Because I
Interesting.
know of several of us, me specifically, my Switch is for home, but because I travel so much for work, I got a Switch Lite because better battery, more portability. It's been wonderful. I know multiple people that got a Switch Lite already owning a regular Switch, whether or not they swapped it out or not. How many people are new Switch owners versus people either upgrading or adding a Switch Lite to their home?
And what's interesting about that, Finn, is that games actually look slightly better on a Switch Lite due to the denser pixel count because the screen is smaller.
Oh. Oh, that's fair.
Oh,
You know?
look at us getting all.
I know we're all technical and shit. We're really smart on this podcast. Speaking of smart, Jeff,
Eurogamer better watch out.
Jeff, yeah, we're coming for you, Eurogamer. Jeff, why don't you keep going? Move this train forward.
That was basically it for the,
Do we
for
have-
the finance stuff.
As far do we have sales numbers for individual games? I had those pulled up.
Only a couple, I think.
We
Yeah,
had. Go ahead.
No, I think they did post a larger list. I just didn't.
Oh no, Jeff, there was Mario Kart. Mario Kart has sold over 22 million, and I'm talking Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This
Just
is not
the Switch
counting.
version?
Just the Switch version has sold over 22 million copies.
So that's almost a half
Wow.
of Switch owners bought that game. That's
That is
insane.
that attach rate is wild.
Nobody does attach rate like Nintendo.
Nobody.
Like, a good attach rate for a Sony first party game is like 10%.
I mean, yeah, it is absolutely. So here are the numbers here actually. I'm looking at Z Huge. I'm looking at his. So
Y'all are killing me.
20. So what's that?
I said y'all are killing me
Nothing.
with the Z huge.
Yes, I know it's Shuge. We call him Z Huge. That's just the way we do it. We've done it since he first appeared on this podcast. He says a 20.21 million Switch hardware units were sold in fiscal year 2019, which was up from 17.41 million. And they've actually, Jeff, did you mention that they had upped their projection for 2020? Okay. I'm looking for the he had the software sales here. I'm going to see if I can find them, but I mean 22 million for Mario Kart, and maybe actually, you know what, we got an NPD guy in chat literally right now, Matt. I know it was over 22 million, Matt, but I can't remember the exact number. But that is basically their Grand Theft Auto 5 in terms of sales. That game is never going to stop selling.
I don't think we're allowed to
Rise
compare
to
anything to
Mario
Grand Theft
Kart.
Auto 5, but
What's that?
I said I don't think we're allowed to compare anything to Grand Theft
Okay,
Auto 5 at
I'm
this
speaking.
point. But
Okay, I'm looking at sales, not no. Mario is not going to get out and beat up a drug dealer and take his drugs. Or
I meant
anything
more
like
that
that.
it's like
He could
saying
be a
like,
drug dealer.
yeah, my fourth
he could be
grader is.
Stella, that's right.
My fourth grader is. I don't know why.
I mean, he does eat.
the
He
Babe
does eat
Ruth
a
of
lot of
his
shrooms.
elementary school.
Yeah.
He does eat a lot of mushrooms. That's 100% true. Well, hold on, Derek. What did you say?
I said my fourth grader is the Babe Ruth of his elementary school. Like it's just not a, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So 22 million sales, and that game came out in I want to say like the middle of 2017. So not even 3 years. Yeah, not even 3 years after that game released. And I had a theory that because that Mario Kart, so like the team that works on Mario Kart usually releases a new game every 3 or 4 years. So it's been, it's almost about 3 years since Mario Kart 8 Deluxe released. So I had a theory that Mario Kart 9 might be happening this year, but with the way that game is still selling, I mean, I play a shitload of Mario Kart and I get a full race within seconds. So I'm not sure they need to. Right, Stella? Like I feel like it's like a Grand Theft 5 auto situation for Nintendo, and what I mean is why would they actually develop a Mario Kart 9 when 8 is still just absolutely crushing it in sales?
Yeah, I don't think they need to. Maybe they could add DLC, like at this point, because then it would get people to buy the game and then buy extra DLC. You know, I feel like that would be the smarter move. But I don't know if the game looks fine. I can't think of a reason to make another one, but who knows? They could always add crazy stuff.
The fact that we don't have like a New Donk City track in Mario Kart is a crime. Like it's actually a felony.
Nintendo's approach or lack of the DLC is really strange. Like Super Mario Party was begging for extra boards.
9 million copies that game sold,
Yeah,
Jeff.
nothing. Mario Kart been out forever. Not like I don't understand it. I really don't. They're leaving so much money on the table.
I mean, Nintendo's approach to online is really strange. Mario Party could have gotten new mini games, could have gotten new boards, and I love Mario Party. And we used to play it all the time here. Me, my wife, and my son, and we fell off of it because you can only play the same board so many times before things kind of get old, and there was no online functionality, and I just with Mario Kart's another one. Like I don't get it.
No, you're
you know,
right, because I mean, especially in this era where Nintendo is finally embracing DLC and the fact that the internet exists, Super Mario Party seemed like such a slam dunk with both
Yeah.
internet multiplayer and DLC for new
Take your
boards
Switch
and
up to a rooftop
and
party,
games.
like
Right?
everybody
Like,
It's a
does.
great
let us
streaming
live the
game.
dream. It is, and yet it seemed they went out of their way to hamstring it, because, or maybe it's all a long con, and Super Mario Party 2 is going to finally give us those features we desperately crave and give us
No, it's not.
5 boards to play on.
No,
I
it's
don't know.
No, it's
I'm
not.
getting a
You know
little
that.
wild here, but
You know that.
who knows? Just saying.
Jeff,
Man can
Jeff,
dream.
do we have more Nintendo stuff?
No, I think it's a good time to shift off from that. So our next topic, I alluded to earlier in the show. We've got a lot of buzz and already some evidence of Microsoft and Sony branching out from their primary systems. You know, traditionally the model for consoles has been the hardware manufacturer has their first-party studios develop games exclusively, specifically to sell boxes that they make. And Microsoft obviously has thrown that out the window. You know, they're publishing Minecraft already on multiple platforms. All their games are on, all their first-party stuff is on PC. They put stuff like Ori and Cuphead on Switch. And now Sony's making moves. So we did see over the last few years, slowly, they didn't get a lot of press, but we saw some previously PlayStation exclusive games like Flower and Journey from that game company make their way to PC via the Epic Store.
Thank God.
Just
Journey,
last year,
everybody needs to play Journey. That game is
Such a gorgeous game.
perfect, Stella. It's perfect. Yeah.
just last year, regardless of how you feel about Quantic Dream, we did see Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and Detroit Become Human all
Hey,
make
those
their
are
way.
good games.
I like
Who's
them too.
Talking shit? Who's
Yeah.
talking shit?
I'll
They're
tell
just
you who.
I like Heavy Rain.
studio
Derek.
turmoil.
I like Heavy Rain.
I never
love
played,
Heavy Rain, and I even like Beyond. I haven't played Detroit yet.
I
but
have not played Detroit either.
Okay, Pollux is talking shit. All right, you wanna fucking go?
Oh shit, Pollux, you done
He
fucked
wants
up,
to
dude.
go.
Pollux done fucked up.
I do have some misgivings about the secretly made nude Ellen Page model in Beyond Two Souls, but like I gotta
Wait, what?
separate. Yeah, there's a
Wait.
yeah.
Wait, I didn't know this.
Yeah,
Wait, what?
and it was made without
Yeah, you
Ellen
did.
Page's knowledge or consent.
No, I didn't.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's gross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But like that's the thing. David Cage is kind of a gross person, but to a certain degree, there's always a small amount of separation between what one man does and a whole studio. But like that was a weird
Randy
sticking point
Pitchford.
for
Yeah.
So
me.
gross.
Yeah, but like
I had
like,
no idea.
Yeah, it's
So
not
to
great.
be clear, he didn't just like make it. Like, there's like
It's
shower
not
scenes. in
used.
every
There's shower
Quantic
scenes, but the thing is, like,
Yeah.
the model of her that is nude is like to some degree detailed. Like to a degree
for
that's
stuff that is never shown in the game.
yes,
It's beyond what is
and
required.
again, she was
so,
not aware that
I
it
get
would
it
not
'cause
be a
it's Beyond
Barbie
Two
doll model.
Souls.
Uh,
Beyond.
Yeah.
Woo!
So
Stella's fitting right in here. I like it.
I just saw everyone die a little bit.
That was me.
yeah. So we did see those games make their way there. And then the latest we have is, I believe it was Jason Schreier who broke it, that Horizon Zero Dawn is coming to PC. We have Naughty Dog with job postings looking for experience with PC specific technologies like NVIDIA and DirectX. The assumption is it's related to Last of Us 2, could be something else. And there's also rumors that Dreams would be making its way to PC, which would be very good for the modding creator community. Be a huge hit there. So what were the trend is clear that the companies. Oh, and the big Sony one I forgot about is they did announce last year as well. San Diego studio who does MLB The Show made a new
Yep.
deal with the MLB
I
to
heard
publish
about
it
this,
Rest
on
in peace, Matt Piscatella's wallet.
multiple
Poor
platforms.
Matt.
Multiple platforms. They didn't specify which. Safe to assume maybe mobile Switch, maybe Xbox as well. So your games are going everywhere.
I'm just. Ooh,
Go Finn. What do you think?
I've been waiting to make this terrible joke that's going to make John's eyes roll so far back in his head. But I'm so happy that PC gamers will have such a fun experience coming on the horizon.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I went there. I've been waiting so long for that. I just
Okay, yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
we got it. We
I
got
needed
it.
that.
We
Cool.
got it.
Horizon Zero
We
Dawn
got it.
joke, right, Finn?
We got it.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's
yeah,
excellent.
you know
Thank
what?
Finn.
And I just want to thank our
Finn.
guest for being such a stellar person.
Oh my
to have
God,
on the
Finn!
show.
What the fuck?
Get
Just
out.
Finn, I
yes.
fucking hate you. Oh my
So-
God. Can we
Chaos
please-
reigns.
Holy shit, can we please continue?
It's funny we have these people on this call. So Stella, I was fortunate enough to actually go to PAX West last year, and I met. Actually, it was just the four of us, and I met these three for the first time. And Finn made a joke like that, and I believe I asked him, "Are you like this all the time?" And I could assure
No,
you.
if I may, because it's my favorite moment of Jeff ever, is I don't even remember what the dumb pun was, but it was a very good one. And he
Very
just
dumb.
turned to me, he goes like, "How are you like this all of the time?" And it just, it my heart grew 3 times that day.
There's no
Oh
off
my God.
switch.
There isn't. This is who I am, and I'm delightful. And
It's fantastic. Let's
A
continue.
self-review. A self-review. Okay.
Great,
So I guess
Finn,
anyone
great.
can chime in. What do you all think of this shift? I guess it's obviously good for gamers. Do you think it's going to have a? Does it mean they're going to sell less consoles, or is it kind of not a? Are they just expanding their audience rather than shifting them?
I think expanding audience more rather than shifting it. I think especially you're not likely to see a lot of like Sony first party games hitting PC day and date, right? Like it might with stuff like MLB The Show where there's like a specific like deal regarding those games being multi-plat with MLB, but like other than that, I think you're going to see games continue to be for the most part like certain games and not all of them, and ones where they might be a year or two already released and their kind of sales are dwindling on the main platform and they can get a boost by going to a secondary system. I mean, it's stuff like Microsoft putting Cuphead and Ori on Switch. Like, I think Microsoft's going to be the same way. They will be putting these games out. They will not, for the most part, not be day and date. And I don't think it's going to be anything close to their whole libraries. It's just going to be where it makes sense to the consoles that it makes sense. And you're going to see them be less resistant to that. I think I'm going to have so much more fun watching us all really put the pressure on Nintendo as the only holdout of the three, and knowing that they will never give in, but still seeing the pressure, the screws getting tightened on them.
Mario on Ouya. We want it.
Look, there's not a whole lot of reason that Nintendo 64 and Super Nintendo games and stuff like that can't be put on a bunch of different eShops. I'm just saying, you don't got to put Mario Odyssey on there, but, put Super Mario World on Xbox Live Arcade. They don't even use the arcade terminology anymore, do they? I'm very trapped in the 360 era. Wow.
I'd like to actually get Stella's take on this as somebody who is in the industry and kind of has their finger on the pulse in a way that we don't.
I think it's just expanding the audience, I guess. Like the sales with consoles will never go down. Everyone loves casual gaming, right?
Yep.
Like families like it. Like it's just so easy to sit down and be like, oh, what's this? Pick up a controller, right? As opposed to learning keyboard and mouse. So it's way better. It's a better introduction. It's funny. I actually went to a shoot where we played with some football players, right? We played Call of Duty, and they mostly played on PS4 or Xbox. So it made more sense because it's easy to pick up, put back down and go about their days, which again is why I think the Nintendo Switch does so well. But yeah, I don't think that console sales will ever die, which is why I think that this is kind of a good move. It expands their audience. It doesn't make people feel, isolated. It doesn't make PC gamers feel like, hey, we just don't get any of this stuff. It's a nice inclusion.
Stella, do you see PlayStation moving towards a more Xbox model at any point in the future, like kind of transitioning PlayStation more as a service to be enjoyed across multiple platforms as opposed to just a box sitting under your television?
I don't know. That's tough because they've been so exclusive about their stuff.
Yeah.
And I know they've been branching out. Maybe they're testing the waters. Honestly, maybe that's what they're doing this year. But it's been really hard to tell because for the longest time, I think even Fortnite was hard to do. They were hard to convince to do cross-platform until recently. So, and that was like the biggest selling game. They could have been making a lot of money off that. So I don't know. Hopefully they're testing that out because that'd be really great because they've been the most exclusive.
They really have.
Yeah, and that would I think that would just do great for their numbers.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. I'm just like, just because I want to play one game that's on PS4 doesn't mean I'm gonna go out and get it. You know?
Right, but like the option to, like, if you don't have a PS4, the option to play something like a Horizon Zero Dawn, which is a fantastic game, on PC, for example, is great. I don't see that as splitting the audience. I don't see that as a bad thing. I see that as more people being able to play games, and that's something that we advocate for here on this podcast. Like, everybody should be able to play.
I think to Derek's point, like he said, like it's going to be the games that make sense. So, there's certain games that are going to sell PS4s, like The Last of Us, like
Right.
God of War. So maybe not those games, but maybe the games like Dreams or, the smaller stuff where it's great added value for people that have it, but no one's, you're not bundling that with a PS4 and people aren't going to Best Buy to specifically buy the console for that game. That'd be a good candidate for, putting it on a different platform where it's like, okay, I wasn't going to buy a PS4 to play this, but now that it's on a console or, a PC that I do own, I can actually at least pay and buy the game and play it. And then just reinforce what Stella said, like expanding that audience, but not necessarily losing it.
Yeah, no, I see this as a positive. I don't know if they're like, so Horizon Zero Dawn is coming to PC. I don't know how soon games like The Last of Us 2 will come to PC, because I think that it is Sony, and I do think that they want to keep those games anchored on whatever PlayStation console they have out at the time for a good long while. I think you will eventually see those games come, but just as we've seen PS4 exclusive, come to things like PS Now, those usually happen several years after the release. So I don't see any of their big new releases dropping day and date on PC like you do on Xbox. But
Knack for PC.
I just saw that.
Hold on, did you say you have a knack for PC?
No, famous Seamus in chat said knack for PC, and I'm backing
okay.
that up. Sure, let's go.
I just saw
Keep the dream alive.
Matt said earlier, Finn, more like win. Am I right?
Oh my god, I hate it. I hate
God.
This is why we
everything
have
about
the greatest community on the internet.
Have we
truly-
hit the Apex Legends portion of the discussion yet?
No, yeah. Let's
God.
jump into that, John. Why don't you carry us through?
So today, I think it was last week when we got the first tease of a new Apex Legends character, and it was a great fake out. Like, it was, what was the name? Stella, what was the name of that character? It was like generic. I'm
His
mostly
name
white
was
man.
Forge. Yeah.
Forge, right? It was Forge, and in the reveal trailer, he was immediately killed off, which
Yeah.
I thought was great. I thought that was great. And I'm not even somebody who plays Apex Legends, but I thought that was fantastic marketing. And today we had the reveal of Revenant, who is a very cool looking character with what actually looks like a very poignant, interesting backstory. Stella, I'll kick it off to you, because you've been doing this at IGN all day, basically.
Yeah, so basically the two games that I'm allowed to be lead on are Apex Legends and Fortnite. I really prefer Apex Legends, but don't tell my boss. So, so today I kind of did a breakdown of the trailer, the story trailer that came out. I don't know, did you guys see that today?
I did, actually.
Okay, it's so dark.
It really is.
I love that stuff. So there's a lot that can go into this. I don't know how much you want me to rant, because
Please rant away. You're the
Rant
guest.
away.
Okay, I'm a big Titanfall nerd, so a lot of this, and I don't know if you guys knew, but Apex, takes place in the Titanfall universe after the wars
Yep.
that the first two games were based on.
I love Titanfall 2. It's one of my favorite shooters.
Oh
Is
my God,
there-
it's so good.
Sorry, Stella. Is there like a set time frame, like how long after Titanfall 2 or something like that, or?
We don't know. We just know that the Syndicate, which was the group that founded the Apex games, we just know that they did it after the wars ended, so a couple of years ago. It has to be within a lifetime, though, because Cuban Blisk, who was the guy who's trying to get you and BT in Titanfall 2, he's still alive, and he's assumed to be the founder of these Apex games because his mercenary group that he led was called the Apex Predators.
Yeah.
So that was probably the inspiration behind the games. Oh yeah, and he was obsessed with having like the best pilots and shit. So yeah. So with this trailer, I'm trying to go over my notes that I wrote today. Okay, so Revenant is basically confirmed to be a simulacrum. It's a weird name.
I know the word you're talking.
Simulacrum.
Semacular. Yeah, no, I know exactly what the word is, and I'm
Yeah.
going to be thinking about it all night.
Simulacrum.
Simulacrum. Yes. I don't know if that's it or
Yes.
not, but please.
It is. It's okay.
Yeah.
Producer Derek.
So, yeah. So basically, he's this transferred consciousness of a soldier, like an old mercenary soldier, and he's been put into a robotic body, which is what Hammond Robotics, comes into play. Hammond Robotics in the Titanfall games, or in the Titanfall universe, they supplied the Titans, they supplied the war machines, like all the robots, firepower, all that stuff for the wars, for the IMC, which were the guys trying to take over and basically farm from independent planets and take all their natural resources and basically starve the inhabitants of, food and their homes. So they were the bad guys, basically. So it turns out Hammond Robotics has not been shut down since the war, and instead they've been trying to, keep doing their stuff. And apparently, Revenant didn't know that he was, one of these robots, that he was a transferred consciousness, and he
That
only
was
found
so
out.
wild.
Yeah, he only found out because something in his wiring got messed up at the end of the trailer when he pulled out this glass shard that was in his neck. And that's when he decided to take revenge against Hammond Robotics, which is why the Apex Twitter has been tweeting out there have been attacks in the Hammond Robotics facility and all that stuff. And this sounds super nerdy, but I love this. I love when games do stuff like this, like give us little bits of story that we have to piece together.
Right.
So the most interesting thing in this trailer that I think a lot of people who haven't been paying attention to game releases might not get, there was a little girl. Her dad was the target that Revenant was supposed to take out because he was working as a mercenary. So this girl, she was gifted a silver wolf, right? And people were like, wait, this wolf, like they keep cutting back to this girl. She has to be really important because at the very end of the video, they zoom in on her face and she's just like so angry. She has so much rage in her heart and you can just see it. They did a great job with the animation as well. So I looked into it. And I don't know if you guys remember when Apex first launched, there was like a bunch of data mined information about future legends, and they confirmed Watson, they confirmed Octane. There was another character named Loba. And if you take Loba and translate it from Portuguese, which is what her father is, like his ethnicity is Portuguese, and if you translate that, it translates to wolf, the female version of wolf, and she was gifted a silver wolf. So a lot of people are assuming that this takes place before now, right? Revenant found out, let's say, like 10 years ago that he's this robot and he never chose this life, so he decides to take revenge. And he just found out where Hammond Robotics is because they announced with Forge they were going to sponsor him on this planet. So he knew where they were. He decided to come to them and try to take them all out. And people are speculating that Loba, this girl, she's grown up. She also hears about Revenant, just causing havoc everywhere. And she finds out that he's reappeared. And so maybe she's going to come back into the games so she can take matters in her own hands and take out Revenant. So that's the most interesting bit of lore that we've discovered, which is really crazy.
So do you think, are they, and I played a lot of Apex, played like 70 hours at launch, but I'm a little bit out of touch with it. It's really cool how the two universes are connected, but it seems like they're still mostly doing their own thing. Do you feel like they're going to be building to anything in the future, either, not necessarily bringing Titans into Apex, but do you see some sort of bigger kind of cross-pollination between the two platforms, or even a new game or something from Apex coming back in a potential Titanfall 3? Like, do you get the feeling that they want to join them a little bit more closely, or do you think they're happy to just kind of take bits and pieces from each one and put it in the other?
So I actually got to do an interview with Finn Sampella, the CEO, and yeah, he said that Titanfall 3 or another Titanfall game wasn't off the table, but they weren't focused on that. So I think they're putting a majority of their efforts into Apex because they can, it's a live game. They can do whatever they want with it. And the fact that people found that data mine so early on in the game means, they planned out this far. So it makes me curious about how far they've planned out. And it makes me really interested and excited for the future of Apex, but of course I would absolutely love another Titanfall game, because that was my shit. That was my soul. That was my heart, you know? That was the first FPS game that I really, really fell in love with.
Do you think we're gonna get it,
So-
Stella?
I don't know, man. I really hope so, but that's a lot to wish for, because I know they have their hands full with Apex. And they just came out with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Was it?
Fallen Order, and
Fallen
that's gonna
Order,
get a
yes.
sequel for sure, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
It has to, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they have
think
DLC
so.
planned for it, so that means probably follow up.
I mean, as well as it's done, as well as it was received, like they seem surprised even by how well it did. So I mean,
It's on track for 10 million by the end of March. So
ooh, okay, now I'm
that's
surprised
awesome.
even. Wow.
See, I hope that the thing is, I think Respawn's been a bit afraid to take risks with stuff. Like Titanfall 1 and 2 were fantastic, but it didn't get the traction that they needed. And that's because they took a big risk, but EA, you know, their publishing company, kind of screwed them on everything. So they decided to play it safe. They came out with a battle royale when, you know, battle royales were popping off, and then they were like, oh shit, this is actually doing well. So now they're coming out with a lot of stuff again, and I hope that this gives them the confidence to try Titanfall 3 or another Titanfall game, because a lot more people know Respawn now.
As in terms of player base, I know. So where do we know where Apex Legends is in regards to games like Fortnite or PUBG, or where does it fall in that pile? 'Cause I know it's been a big success.
I don't think we have their numbers exactly. I know they came out with their public numbers after when was it? After launch, but I know those numbers kind of fell off. But I think they still have a pretty strong player base.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, not quite Fortnite, but I want to say better than PUBG, because I don't know many people play PUBG still.
Yeah.
Neither do I. Yeah.
I mean, it
I think-
still takes no effort to get a match in Apex Legends. You're not waiting for any amount of time to get into a match. The player base seems really, really, really healthy. I'm enamored by Apex Legends, by Respawn's work they've been putting into the game, by their work ethic to not overwork their employees while providing, you know, a content drip to keep that game updated.
Right.
It's, I mean, I don't envy their position, but they seem to be doing really well, you know, despite those difficulties and kind of self-handicapping in that regard. It just makes me very happy.
So, does anybody else here, like, I fell off Apex Legends because online shooters just, like, usually aren't my thing. However, were they to drop big-ass Titans in there, if we were able to ride some big mechs in there and, you know, get a little, I like that honestly would pull me back in, because with the popularity of Apex Legends, I think it was like a month or two ago, like the that combined with like a sale, the player count in Titanfall 2 online like skyrocketed suddenly, like it shot up a great deal, and I never felt like Titanfall itself got the shake it deserved. Like, for example, in Titanfall 2, I can't remember the name of the mission, but the mission where you utilized like manipulating time.
Cause and effect.
Cause and
Yep.
effect.
Oh,
Yep, that's
Is-
everyone's favorite.
One of the
for good
fine-
reason.
It is up there with the Clockwork Mansion from Dishonored 2 for me as one of the best gaming experiences I have had this generation.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was so good, and I want more of that, and I really hope that Respawn gets the opportunity to deliver that, because as popular as Apex Legends is, like the online multiplayer in Titanfall 2 was exemplary. It was so, I have never been sucked into an online shooter like that before.
I think it's really unfortunate. Titanfall never recovered from the Xbox One launch. That
No.
first game was an Xbox exclusive. It was on 360 as well.
And it should not have been.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to criticize, you know, developers, publishers, they take deals, they make deals that make sense to them financially, but you know, the Xbox One had a terrible launch, and that game was on there, you know, so PS4 players never got a shake, and then when Titanfall 2 comes out, you don't have that established base on the other systems. Like, yes, Titanfall 2 is now on PS4, but, you know, they don't have that association with it. Imagine if Titanfall 1 launched everywhere, and everyone got to see how great it is, and then they just take that second one and step everything up a notch, give it that great campaign. I just think it could have been really different if the first game had a different
they rolled the dice on exclusivity, and I don't think it was necessarily a bad idea. Like, on paper.
Hindsight, right? Like,
yeah, hindsight's
Right.
2020. I mean, if they'd made the exact same deal with PlayStation, they'd be in a different situation entirely, and that's not, something that they really could have totally foreseen. What happened to the Xbox One during launch. I think they suffered from having no campaign. They got a lot of negative press for that, and it was at a time where online games, not having at least something of a campaign was still a really unusual thing. Even though that's more commonplace nowadays. And the sad thing is that carried over to Titanfall 2, because I think what you see a lot of times is that big games and big, heavily publicized series tend to be impacted more by the goodwill of the game they're coming off of than how good the game itself is. We see a lot of really heavily improved sequels sell really, really poorly because the first game or the preceding game was not well received. We see a lot of really bad sequels that do really well because of goodwill from the first game. Titanfall was just in such a rough situation. I also want to point out that, I love and I want to see all of these aspects of Titanfall come back. But as our buddy Steve Spawn has pointed out, as he's been on the show, Titanfall, the mechanics, the layout, everything about it is not very accessibility friendly for those who are not or for those who suffer any kind of executive dysfunction. The complexity of the mechanics of the wall run and the double jump and the Titans are apparently not the easiest thing to control by their control layout. In a way that Apex Legends is significantly more accessible in that regard. So I'd probably like to see those stay mechanically kind of separated. But if Titanfall 3 ever came, I'd love for them to learn from Apex Legends. The ping system's incredible. Every game should copy that, honestly.
So, we've got about another 10 minutes. I think we have exhausted our topics for tonight, Jeff. Am I mistaken about that?
I got nothing.
It's been kind of a slow week. It's been kind of a slow
It's
couple
been a
of
slow
weeks.
start to the year, hasn't
Slow means not dramatic, and I'll take that at this point. 2020's
coming.
been hard, y'all.
So it's been kind of a shit show so far.
Could talk about coronavirus for 10 minutes.
But-
No,
Well, that'd be great. Let's please do that.
let's not deal with
How
that
about, I have an idea.
overly
Well,
panicked.
hold on. Go ahead, Finn. What's your idea?
No, I was gonna say, we talk about a lot of news, but why not talk about something coming up? Like, why don't you everyone tell me what is something coming out that you are actually legitimately excited for?
I love this positivity. Let's do it.
Oh, fine. Stella, what is something coming out this year that you are supremely excited for?
Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I
a
just
lot
love
of people are.
games that you can throw yourself into the first-person story stuff. In. I just love that stuff. I just love immersing myself in a game world, and anything cyberpunk related is totally my shit. Like Altered Carbon, so good.
You loved Deus Ex, didn't you?
I didn't, unfortunately.
Really? Oh, that's
The
surprising to
gameplay-
me.
The gameplay mechanics, it couldn't decide if it wanted to be an RPG or if it wanted to be a shooter, and I was very confused, and I hated it, and I was
That's a
very
solid
angry.
point.
The cool thing
That's a
about
really good point.
the cool thing about Cyberpunk is, I feel like every other game now labels itself an RPG, but Cyberpunk is really doubling down on that character role-playing aspect, where you're, the dynamic reactions to how, very just dynamic and really heavy on the systems aspect. It's not like the Mass Effect or Infamous good versus evil, black and white reality stuff. And I just love that flexibility and how it feels like building your own character and not playing someone else's character. All the different choices and dialogue options and people reacting naturally to those. That's the one thing about that game I'm super excited for.
Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah.
I called you out
saw
in
it.
chat. I called out your
s-
slip
y-
of the tongue.
Yeah,
It was completely unintentional, but I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
What?
nothing.
Continue onward,
Jeff,
Anyway,
folks.
John,
Okay, what's on your mind?
Ignore
Jeff, don't worry about it.
the little sassy gay in the corner, please.
you guys, you fucking guys here. Something I'm gonna have that in my mind the rest of the night now. Something I'm excited for a lot this year. Animal Crossing. Very excited for future Final Fantasy 14 content. I am also very excited for the Panzer Dragoon remake that is coming out apparently soon. It was supposed to come out in winter 2019. I haven't seen anything for that. But Crosscode coming to Switch. Chained Echoes coming to Switch. Both 2D 16-bit pixelated RPGs. You guys know that's exactly my fucking shit.
Yeah.
It's
Crystal Chronicle.
catnip to me and John.
What's that?
It's like our catnip.
Oh, absolutely,
We can't-
dude. No, yeah, no. If I could cut that shit up and snort it, I would. Like that's exactly my shit. Yeah, like stuff coming from Nintendo. Like you guys know I'm a Nintendo guy, so I'm jazzed about even if they're Wii U ports, which I know of a few Wii ports that are coming this year. Wii U ports, bring them. Like I fucking love Nintendo, so this is gonna be a good year for me. Derek, what about you?
Oh man, I got a couple. Resident Evil 3 remake is probably my biggest right now, because Resident Evil 2 remake was
shit, yeah,
my runner-up for Game of the Year last year. I'm incredibly excited. Doom Eternal's obviously going to be a big one.
That's
for me.
another good one.
It's hard because we don't know a lot. Like, not a lot of Nintendo stuff has been officially announced through this year.
That'll change at the Nintendo Direct in 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, look, Nintendo. I'm not biting that bait. Nintendo stuff is always something that I'm looking forward to. But yeah, Doom Eternal, Resident Evil 2 remake. I am curious if Avengers even comes out this year. I know it's been delayed to later in the year, but we've kind of talked. And I'm with Anthony Agnello that I don't know that it even hits this year. But if it does, I'm really curious about that, especially with them putting Kamala Khan up front. That's a nice way.
That's
putting such a fun character and putting a young Pakistani woman up front of a game like Avengers is just a great, fun way to kind of shake up the image of Marvel we've had for so long in pop media. Trying to think. I'm not as super stoked about FF7 remake as everyone else, but I'm very excited. That and Animal Crossing, like I'm excited they're coming out for other people. I'm excited other people are going to be very happy for them. But we gotta see. I think I'm waiting to see what gets announced. Yeah. Resident Evil 3 remake. That's it. That's the big one.
I fucking can't wait for that shit, dude.
Yeah.
I love Resident Evil. I love everything Resident Evil. Jeff, what about you?
I mean,
we already know.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip the obvious ones. So everyone knows I'm super looking forward to Animal Crossing and Final Fantasy VII remake. Final Fantasy VII is one of my favorite games. But I want to give a shout out to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. I played the first game. I only played the first game a few years ago. For anyone who doesn't know, it's an RPG set in the vampire underworld. It was originally like a Source Engine game released in 2004. It was super buggy and broken and basically unfinished. There's been some unofficial mods and stuff released since, but it is hands down has some of the best writing I've ever played in a game. The sense of humor, the style, the atmosphere is wonderful, and it's getting a proper sequel with what looks like a healthy budget, all the modern niceties of video games, and it's coming out this year at some point. I think it was supposed to be early, like March, until it got delayed like everything else. But I'm really looking forward to that one.
Who has not gone? Is everybody gone?
John, don't you dare do this to Finn yet again.
I'm just kidding, Finn. Go
Who's
ahead.
Finn? We went through everyone.
Go ahead.
Everyone that matters. Womp, womp.
I'll just
No,
go
I mean,
ahead.
so there's obviously the big ones. Like, I mean, I would be lying if I didn't say stuff like Doom Eternal, Cyberpunk, Final Fantasy VII remake, which surprises even me considering my disdain for the original game it's based on. But my God, is the remake so good? Anyway, I'm gonna be like Jeff and pull out a game that you don't hear very much about, but I guarantee is gonna be incredible, and that's Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Because that comes out in like 5 weeks, and I'm very excited.
Fuck.
I love the first one. There's just it was the first time I turned my Xbox on in so long, and I bought it. I pulled it out and got a new one just for it. My original one broke a month before the first Ori game came out, and I rebought an Xbox just to play it. And it was so good. It was everything I wanted to be, and this is somehow looking even better. So that is probably going to be the first game of the entire year that I truly love. And I'm very excited for Ori Will of the Wisps.
I'm very excited for your excitement, Finn.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you know I love you, buddy. You know I love you. We are bumping up against our time here. There are a few things I wanted to throw out there real quick. I know that we are living. This isn't game related, but you know, with everything going on, I just wanted to tell everybody out there. I know that we are living in uncertain times in this country, and there's a lot of worry going around. And I just wanted to remind everyone that your feelings are valid. And if my DMs are open, if anybody ever needs to talk about things that are happening or unload, we also have a venting channel in our Discord where you are welcome to go and kind of talk about whatever might be bothering you. And I also wanted to say something about myself. Everybody may have noticed my camera angle is a little different tonight. There's a reason for that, and I did not tell anybody else on the podcast the reason for it. I just said that I switched my camera angle. The reason for it is that if you look at my photos, most photos of me, you either always see me face on, and you never see me smiling with my teeth. The reason for that is because I suffer from ectodermic dysplasia, which manifests itself in over 100 different ways. It's a malformation of the teeth. And in my case, mine manifests as very sharp, abnormally sharp, crooked teeth like this. And it's something that I have been very self-conscious of my entire life. And this is kind of a way of me. I've been making a point to smile with my teeth during the podcast. This is kind of a way of me overcoming that and not being concerned about or ashamed of it. And there are people who have it. There are people who are afflicted with ectodermal dysplasia far worse than I am. But again, it is something that has been with me my entire life, and I got teased for it a lot in high school, grade school, high school. I have had minor corrective procedures to take care of it, but there's really not a whole lot you can do for it. But this is kind of my way of just kind of displaying it and showing that there's nothing wrong with me and there's nothing wrong with any of it. So if I seemed a little distracted tonight or a little uncertain of myself, that's why, because this is kind of been a thing for me for a long time. But anyway, before we go, I do want to remind everybody that we have our first ever SDGC panel coming up at PAX East. We are very excited about it. It's myself, Finn is on the panel, and our friends from the industry, Amanda Farrow, Tom Johnson from GameRanks, Christy Pride, Kyle Gatto is on there, and Finn, am I missing anybody? And Sarah LaBeouf is on there as well. We are going to have a great time. We are going to be ranking the Final Fantasy spin-offs. And
spoiler alert, Theater Rhythm's gonna win.
I hope it does. Like that or Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon. I'm a huge fan of both of those.
Just kidding. It's gonna be All the Bravest.
Probably. I will make sure it's All the Bravest just to piss people off.
I saw someone ask on Twitter if Kingdom Hearts is a Final Fantasy spinoff.
It is.
So I can reveal now that we are including the first Kingdom Hearts. We are not including any other Kingdom Hearts games. We are also including the Mana series. Like Final Fantasy Legends, Secret of Mana, Seiken Densetsu 3. We are including all of those as well.
No, I feel about
They were explicitly labeled Final Fantasy Gaiden in
the way it
Japan,
is.
so
that exactly. You know. They're spin-offs. So please look forward to that. That is the first day of PAX, which is February 27th at 6 p.m. in the Condor Theater in Boston. Right after that, we are going to have a SDGC meetup. I know that a lot of people who watch us and listen to us will be at PAX East, and we've said this before, but we will be having a meetup right after the panel, and we'll all hang out. We'll go somewhere. We'll just have a good time. We just want to meet you all and hang out with you and talk with you. Because we would be nothing without the people who watch us, without the friends and family who have been with us for so many years. And this is a big moment for us, and we appreciate everybody's support. And I will end by saying, don't be ashamed of who you are. Don't let anybody tell you that you are worth less than anybody else, because you're not. We all have to take care of each other. And Stella, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was a real pleasure having you on, and I hope that you will join us again in the future.
Yeah, of course. It was so great to be here. Thank you so much for thinking of me.
Of course.
I might be at PAX East, so maybe I'll even join you guys for that meetup. Yeah.
If you want to join us for the meetup, that would be
As well
the shit.
You should.
That would be awesome.
Finn will have some
Yeah.
extra sakis for you.
He will. Finn actually gives sakis out at each one of
It's
these
true.
conventions.
So every convention we give away sons of Saki or daughters of Saki, your call. We go with the alliteration. And they're giving away, there's 2 flavors of them. There's the friends of the
Flavors.
show. There's friends of the show Sakis, and then there's best of show Sakis that we give out to developers and stuff for our favorite games on the show floor. It's how we do our like best of awards.
Finn, have you revealed the special sake prize you're giving out?
You
Yeah.
know what? It's been a while, so let's do it again. At PAX East at our very first meetup, there's something universal about socks, right? If you have one, you have another. Well, we've never revealed what happened to the OG Saki sock twin, but it will be given away to one lucky person at PAX East. You will get the original Saki, caught at the Muses Mardi Gras parade in 2016. Not purchasable in stores.
They moved on to
not
throwing socks
replicable.
now, huh? That's how that works.
Hey, I'm just saying, man. This is a Mardi Gras throw, and that's why we love it so much. So, Saki
Excellent.
Gras.
That's fantastic. All right. Well, we will. Yeah, I know. Julian Chat is right. Like, Saki has more lore than people realize.
And Jeff's in chat as well. Please
Yeah.
remember that CD Projekt Red, Corey Balrog, and many
Did you say
other people-
Balrog?
I did. I said Barlog.
That's what
You
he
said
I heard it.
Balrog.
Mr. God of War
Balrog.
has a Saki and unironically loves it. It's amazing.
So does Sam Lake.
Sam Lake loves his. Matt
He has his-
Piscatella has one of the originals.
The people at
The
Remedy.
last time Corey Barlog posted a photo of his office, Saki was right there on the wall.
It was
Oh,
awesome.
that's great.
It was fantastic.
There's nothing quite
yeah.
like going past the booth for Night Call, which was a very French noir themed like adventure game that had a very like French noir themed black and white booth, awarding them this bright colorful sock, and going past later and seeing that it was pinned up in their extremely dark black and white French noir themed booth. Oh.
It's
I
a
just have to ask
delight.
one question before we go. Finn, have you worn any of the socks you've given out?
Oh,
Never.
God.
That would
Okay,
be
good.
that
I
would
just wanna
be a
make sure.
violation of the trust.
I want to make
The
sure.
only- We adopt the socks from because
Local rescues, right?
exactly they're all
abandoned socks that
rescues.
have been abandoned. That might actually be worse though.
Yeah, because then you don't know. You can't
Damn
confirm.
it, you're
That's
right.
Exactly
I've
what
only
Stella
made it
said. You
worse.
don't know
I'm
where those
trying to
socks
give
have
them backstory,
been.
okay?
We need to get
Come
off the
on.
sock Discord.
Yeah, it's failing miserably all of a sudden, Finn. But anyway, thank you again to Stella for joining us. And hey, it's not always poetry. We don't always agree, but we always keep it real. So until next week, please take care of each other, and we will see you later. Finn, if you dab again, you're off the fucking podcast. Take us off the air. No more dabbing.